Title: People who sleep naked. What is your plan in case of a fire or murderer? 1. Use a fire extinguisher, naked. 2. Fight the intruder, naked. Also consider, fight the intruder with the fire extinguisher, naked. I don't sleep naked, but I'll strip down to fight an intruder. If I've learned anything from watching cop videos is nakedness grants you superpowers. No one wants to fight a naked man. The plan is to use my penis to extract some sympathy out of the murderer or fire. This guy in my town beat the living shit out of someone who tried to rob him, and he was naked and held him until the cops came, and there was a picture of him standing there with the cops and his naked ass posted on my town Facebook page. LOL. Imagine balls on your chest waiting to be arrested. Even when I lived alone I always locked the door when I showered. One of my biggest fears is having to fight an intruder totally nude. Though after seeing Eastern Promises, I'm not sure because it took on a badassness. 1. Set the intruder naked on fire, naked. 2. Fight the fire away, naked. 3. What? When a naked guy comes running at you in the dark, screaming, you get the hell out of there no matter what. 1. Piss. 2. Should appease the intruder sexually and douse the situation. Oh wait, this is Reddit. I'm a man. Intruder is usually a man also. Make the intruder feel really uncomfortable with my nakedness. I'll cross all the lines. -100 armor. -50 charisma. +100 intimidation. +50 agility. Fighting them naked is half my defense strategy. So if I break in, you'll fight me naked? You going to be home tomorrow night? Is that a dent in his head? I actually think that fighting an intruder naked would probably startle them and provide an advantage. Fight the intruder, naked. I would hope that seeing my hideous naked body would blind the murderer long enough for me to grab my Damascus steel katana. Use a fire extinguisher, naked. I probably should have bought a fire extinguisher for my apartment before I bought a Damascus steel katana. And keep on saying not now, please. For erection criminals of Reddit, what is your plan when you break into my house and see a naked man running straight towards you? I think this is the real question. Criminals of Reddit, what is your plan when you break into a house and see a naked man running straight towards you with a knife? Their plan: run while being thankful it's not Dark Souls. Guns vs Buns. Post it. I wanna see the answers. I guess it would depend on my level of armament. FBI, we got M, or in my case, and see a naked man with a bow pointing at your chest. Ain't nobody fucking with a naked man with a 40 pounds recurve at 10 yards. Fires of Reddit, what is your plan when you are doing your fire thing, and see a naked man trying to put you out? Depends, how big is your dong? The bigger the more intimidating, the smaller the more I will be busy laughing to defend myself from whatever you are planning on doing to me. Same as every other situation, rip and tear. Until it is done. I'd probably put some clothes on before I planned a murder or started a fire. Ah, the old Reddits. Why? Wait, do we do this anymore? See, these are the sensible LPTs that I come to Reddit for. I would award you if I could. This made me giggle. I sleep naked. I woke up randomly one night, confused and disoriented. The house was full of a thick smoke from my knees up, and the stench was nearly unbearable. What happened was I had been burning sticks of incense, and I would just stick them upright in an old candle. I probably amassed a good 100 plus sticks up to that night. I went to bed with one lit. Well, the whole mass of tiny sticks went up like a smoke grenade. When I jumped out of bed, I ran to my back door and grabbed the fire extinguisher, then ran around from room to room like 4 to 5 times looking for fire. Then I grabbed my cats, who were just chilling in the living room like this is fine, and tossed their asses outside. My next idea was to grab my PC. So I ran into my office and started disconnecting things. That's when I saw the smoke billowing from the old candle incense graveyard. I then opened all the windows and doors, calming down. Then I realized that my cats were probably running away. I tossed a housecoat on with no belt and ran outside with a flashlight. I probably looked like a fucking nutcase outside with my junk hanging out, waving a flashlight, loudly going PST 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 at 2 a.m., with a Snoop Dogg amount of smoke coming out of every hole in my house. I spent the next several hours waving a large Rubbermaid container lid around in every room to dissipate the smoke before the wife got home from work. The answer is that I have no plan. Did you find the cats though? No. But this was much more entertaining. I just imagined a naked guy yeeting cats out into the street, then frantically doing PC rescue. Next time call the fire department. We have giant fans that can clear the smoke from your house in no time. And don't worry about sleeping in the nude, we've seen it all. Just get out and be safe. You're going to need to answer about whether you found the cats. I only care about the cats, so did you find them or no did you find the cats? You give kitten information now, comments, Snoop Dogg amounts of smoke, OMG, I'm dying. PST 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 PST. We've all been there. Haha, thanks for that. This was great. This was incredible. Thanks for sharing. Situations like this is why I have external hot swap drive bays in my computer. The hardware can be replaced / is insured, but the data is invaluable. I also have offline offsite backup, but it's done manually by me when I feel like it, so it's not as up to date, much easier to just unplug the drives from the front of the case and take them with me than the entire tower. Imagine being the cat, just chilling there and then suddenly your ass flies out of the house. My next idea was to grab my PC. So I ran into my office and started disconnecting things. You were clearing your browser's history, weren't you? LOL. I probably looked like a fucking nutcase outside with my junk hanging out, waving a flashlight, loudly going PST 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 at 2 a.m., with a Snoop Dogg amount of smoke coming out of every hole in my house. I fucking love this face with tears of joy. Wait, did we find the cats? Thank you for making my day. Bravo. Now call the Moth Podcast and get this story on air. Clapping hands. Do you not have a smoke detector? Cats motherfucker? Did you find M? But did you find all your cats? For fuck's sake, are the fucking cats okay? If your house is on fire, never start looking for items to save. You can take something small, if it is nearby. Saving the PC was a dumb move. No, but really, did you find the cats? If you're me and your dad sets the alarm off from his phone while you're home alone, you would. 1. Wrap a blanket around yourself and run downstairs. 2. Trip on the blanket while running. 3. Decide it's better to be naked than dead and ditch the blanket. 4. Grab your brother's pants and button-down shirt that are hanging on the stairwell. 5. Run outside and get dressed in the middle of the road. 6. Try to button the shirt but fail. BC you thought someone broke in so your hands are shaking uncontrollably. 7. Run a half a mile down the road in your 6'3" brother's khakis with your arms wrapped around your chest to keep the shirt on. 8. Notice your dad drive past you on his way to turn off the alarm. 9. See your dad's car slam on the brakes and make a U-turn. 10. Get picked up by your dad who is laughing so hard he can't speak. Edit, it was a security alarm. Edit 2, very thankful for my first award. Gave me that good serotonin boost I've been needing. Also, I'm kinda new here. I don't know if making an edit to thank someone for an award is a meme or polite protocol. I read this thinking it was a fire alarm and was thinking, why is this person reacting to a fire like a bomb threat? r/suspiciously specific. This is so great. Thanks for the laugh. This comment is so legendary it got more upvotes than the post. Hilarious. Edits for awards are common but kinda frowned upon. There's a sub, r/award speech edits I think, dedicated to making fun of the more absurd edits. r/suspiciously specific. I keep a pair of shorts and a t-shirt next to my bed, my phone hung on the wall between my window and bed, and my wallet on a table near my door. This is the way you are ready. Might I introduce you to the robe? Like an outfit, but more comfortable and easier to don in a pinch. I have a coat hanger in my room which I keep a silk robe on at all times. I'm a woman, as well as a couple of coats that are long enough that they'd cover me. I'd just grab any of those. I actually had this happen a couple years ago. I'd fallen asleep with a candle lit and for some reason it started smoking a lot and the fire alarm went off. It was very easy to just grab my robe before I dealt with the alarm. I have a roommate that I don't know very well, so I wouldn't be comfortable running around naked. I'm surprised that so many people's solution is basically naked flailing, but I guess this is Reddit where that kind of thing would be more common. I have almost the same setup. Your phone hung on the wall? I don't sleep nude, but pretty much all of the pants I've worn lately are in a pile within arm's reach of the bed. It's not a good system. This guy sleeping naked literally is my plan in both those cases. If the house is on fire, I assume it would be warm, probably excessively so. By already being naked I have few seconds advantage on the heat becoming unbearable. If a murderer enters the house while I'm asleep, I figure the best course of defense is to scare them off. I'm not by nature a frightening man, but I figure to a nighttime intruder an angry naked guy running at you balls swinging freely would be somewhat intimidating. If someone breaks into your home, just use your natural nunchucks. Alexa, red alert. Hathaway's What is Love starts playing full blast and all your hue lights come on a muted red. Brock, why are you naked? Asterisk to prey on their fear. Asterisk my grandfather used to sleep naked. Someone broke in the house once and not only did he chase them out, he ran after them down the street. Gramps gave zero fucks. I sure do miss him. Friend of my parents actually chased after an intruder through the streets while naked. Military. Bonus points if you have morning wood. Note, I was notified that the morning wood would actually stoke the fire more. By already being naked I have few seconds advantage on the heat becoming unbearable. It's not a heat wave, it's a fucking fire. Clothing would protect you. Pretty sure firefighters wear clothing and don't usually run into a burning building naked. Also pretty sure racing drivers don't drive naked for the same reason. Don't forget the fear boner. Both of you'll be armed. People dying during fires don't die because of the heat, but because of the smoke. Indeed, oxygen being consumed by the fire, as well as toxic gases coming from plastic material, mainly, makes the atmosphere kill you way faster. Fun fact, the same reasonment applies when considering the fall into lava. Well, if I would see an angry naked guy running at me balls swinging freely, I would probably turn and bend over, winking face rolling on the floor laughing, same thing, just nude, so just lay down and cry. Yep, that's the plan. Get up, cock out. I feel like that's the best way to get someone out of my bedroom. Right. My house is on fire. I'm not worried about being naked. Yeah, wearing boxers isn't going to change things much. Bold of you to assume I A, will wake up and B, have a plan. I had one of those when I was living with my dad. Fire caught in our plastic garbage bin outside. Middle of the night, my dad woke up and saw the fire, called the authorities and went to wake me up. He thought I'd wake up, but I remember being half awake, seeing 2 fire trucks outside my window and going back to bed thinking they got it, back to sleep. Apparently, they almost didn't get it, and in the midst of that chaos, my father didn't even realize I wasn't out of the house yet. I slept through it all and didn't even wake up until my alarm went off for me to go to school. See, have a will to live. This happened to me years ago when I was still a student living in digs close to varsity. Early one morning, my now wife was woken by movement in the bedroom. There was an intruder who had climbed in through our sash window and was rifling through her handbag. She let out an almighty scream. And she was an opera student, so she really could scream. I woke up to see intruder's backside exiting through the window, so I jumped out of bed and gave chase. I was damn close to catching him, but he ducked down into the railway line reserve at the end of the street. It was here that my feet really started to get hurt on shards of broken glass, so I had to stop my chase. Then I realized that I was completely naked. The 200m walk down the street was interesting. Everyone had come out to see what the fuss was about and saw this breathless, naked young student sauntering down the road. I decided to just brazen it out and not put my embarrassment on display, so I just strolled along till I got home. I earned legend points that morning. It also helped that I was in really good physical condition. But in the heat of that fight or flight adrenaline-charged moment, the last thing I thought about was my clothes. One of the things I've learned in life is that if you can't do it gracefully, you may as well do it boldly. I have a lot of dreams that sound a bit like this. I know a guy who was walking with his mom and someone grabbed her purse. He gave chase without thinking. He heard a loud bang but ignored it and carried on. After a couple hundred more meters the guy dropped the bag. He picked up the bag and started to walk back to her when he realized his chest hurt. He rubbed at his chest to find a load of blood. That bang he heard? Yeah, the guy had shot him. The adrenaline completely blocked the pain from the gunshot. He survived and was fine, but he dines out about the time that he chased a guy down and even shooting him in the chest didn't stop him from getting his mom's bag back, and I don't blame him. Intensely stare at whatever the threat is and assert dominance. It's just you and me now. Fire, crackle, a true alpha. Even fire extinguishes itself from your stare. If you're a guy, just run after the offender helicopter dicking. Exactly my way of thinking. If murderer, start the staring but add the crazy DLC. Barking like a dog, pee on the floor and then start masturbating, bonus points if you actually woke with a sleep hard on. But that makes peeing hard, so I guess poop on the floor first in that case. Damn, that got a bit complicated, GLHF. This is the only answer. Frighten the fire or murderer into submission by helicopter dicking all night long. Finally found the answer I was going to post. Helicopter is the answer to both. Not fire or murderer but kinda close. I sleep naked, so a few days ago I woke up hearing someone in my yard, picking through my shit. I have very expensive diving gear there and a few more stuff. I went outside naked with a morning erection, starting to yell at the guy and push him out of my yard. He tried to take my spear gun. He was drunk and harmless tbh, but still, very stressful. I didn't really care. I was naked. I went outside naked with a morning erection. He tried to take my spear gun. Is this some kind of euphemism? Which spear gun? Smirking face. I'm gonna go out like I came in, screamin' and kickin'. David Lister, you can't kick death in the nuts. I don't understand the question. Why would it be any different if you had clothes on? I'm not gonna let myself be murdered or stay in a burning building because I'm too embarrassed that I'm naked. Wait, I can't go out naked. Well, I guess I'll die by the fire. This is the logic that people who have to sleep with some clothing on ask people who sleep naked. They ask as if being naked in public is literally worse than death for them, and maybe it is. For me, I would be a bit embarrassed but not enough not to sleep comfortably and how I want. Yeah, WTF? If I'm not sleeping naked, I'm just in boxers. I'm not sure what sort of armored pajamas Up is wearing to bed. Up is probably a prude that can't handle the sight of bare skin. I have robes hanging on the back of the door. An attacker? Gonna grab my bat and flashlight with pointed ribs that looks like a scary dildo and swing it at them. Decided being naked ain't gonna be a worry if someone is trying to rape or kill me. I'll be more nimble anyway. Maybe weird to have someone in an armbar with straight pussy on but tbh I'll probs try break the arm quicker if I'm having to do that. That was wild, lol. Pee on them to assert dominance. Pissing on a fire is not something I'd recommend. It seems like a fine idea at first, but that steam is damn smelly. I actually heard this on my favorite murder recently. It wasn't intentionally, but anyway, it shocked the perpetrator enough to let the woman run away and get help. I don't always sleep naked, but I had a fire incident once when I did. One Saturday morning when I was in college I slept through a fire alarm. I woke up when campus security entered my room and started yelling at me, "Hey, Why are you still here? Didn't you hear the alarm? I was still in my bed at that point and I just looked at him with my eyes half open and said, I didn't hear it, I was sleeping. He then tells me that the fire alarm was set off in my room and starts rattling off questions. Were you smoking? Microwaving popcorn? Toasting? Lighting incense? I told him, no dude, I just told you I was sleeping, you literally just woke me up. At this point I could tell he was getting a bit frustrated, but so was I. He then tells me, get up, you need to go outside with the others. I responded, well, can I at least get dressed? He scoffs and after that he finally leaves, so I get up and I put on some pajama pants and my robe and went outside. It turned out my smoke alarm was defective, which is why it set off the system and why I couldn't hear it as loudly as everyone else. I guess it could have been bad if there was an actual fire, but I was more annoyed than anything that day. Shock and awe baby. I sleep naked in the park. I am the fire or murderer. In case of fire I just put on clothes. In case of murderer, well, I can give a sexy distraction so I can KO him. Whip out my cocktail sausage to make the fire and slash or burglar leave me alone because of guilt. I think about how embarrassing it would be if I was murdered naked. Cops taking pics, dick out and all. Whole family coming in and seeing this, dick out and all. Then again, who cares, I'm dead. For fire I have no plan. For robbery or murderers, is there really anything scarier than a naked white man running at you with a Glock 27 in one hand and a large knife in the other? I mean, at that point the intruder has gotta be thinking, does he know how to use the gun? What about the knife, does he know how to do that? Why are his testicles hanging so low? Why does he have an erection? Look at my balls. Look at them. This applies to both the murderer and the fireman. I certainly would not mess with a naked person holding a 12-gauge shotgun. I hope others feel the same. If there's a murderer in your house, your state of dress is not high on your list of priorities. Helicopter dick either puts out the fire or achieves emergency escape propulsion. Die of burn or stab or shame. Piss out the fire or beat the intruder with my dick. I would use piss for both scenarios. Is there something wrong with being naked? Murica is still full of Puritans. For fire, I scare the fire spirits away with hideous amount of pubes. For murderers, I scare them off with my hideous amount of pubes. In case of fire or murder, the embarrassment of someone seeing my 45-year-old mashed potatoes, belly floppy mommy tits and no sex in 5 years retro porn bush will take a backseat to death. Bold of you to assume I sleep. Run away. I'd rather be naked and alive anywhere than being dead. I have a bathrobe next to my bed and a fully loaded Glock 20 SF 10mm. Any more questions? How many times will you need to shoot the fire to kill it? I have a bat next to the bed. 1 intruder? Use bat. 2 fire? Use bat. Well, if there's a murderer, my lack of clothes won't protect him from my abundance of bullets. If there's a fire, I have these girls' pajamas that are really comfortable, and more importantly they don't have the slice or whatever in the front. That way I can slip them on, grab a cat and run without my dick trying to run interference. Lives short, drive fast and leave a sexy corpse. Stanley Hudson. Helicopter my dong and fly to safety. Obviously, what else are they used for other than flight? I feel sorry for those below average and girls with short hair, and that is why short dong guys should have long hair. I don't have a plan and I don't stress about it. I would grab something off the floor and evacuate. Does op think a pajamas would protect against fire or murder? Similar question, for those of you who wear flip-flops, how do you defend yourself in a fight? Lay back on my bed and whisper, finally it's my time, and I either scare off the homophobic murder or die in a non-homophobic fire. Keep an axe by the bedside. It'll help you get out in case of a fire, and no murderer would fuck with a naked guy running after him with an axe. My jeans and that day's underpants are on the floor by my bed, in line, ready to step into and pull up. Same routine as when I wake up Friday morning and realize I haven't put the bin out. Scare the burglars away with my hairy arse and bloated dadbod stomach. In the event of a fire, I will jump out the window and scare my neighbors and fire emergencies with my hairy arse and bloated dadbod stomach. Anyone unfortunate enough to see my naked form has their face melt like Raiders of the Lost Ark. Get up and leave the burning house naked. I am betting the neighbors or the fire folk will put a blanket around me once they get tired of seeing my 6 feet 3 inches lily white ass by the white hot blaze of all of my material possessions. It is naked, not paralyzed. In case of murder, I will be dead and naked. Or maybe I'll be covered in blood holding a weapon and reveling in my slaughter, naked. Having just killed someone, I am pretty sure being naked is not the most important thing on my mind. Are you high? Because I am pretty sure you are high. Show them my mega dick. JK, don't have one. Well, I sleep in boxer shorts and have a bayonet in my bedside table, and if Dark Souls has taught me anything, then that naked men with daggers are the most lethal bastards in the universe. I'm going out the way I came into this world unintentionally. Naked, screaming, and covered in someone else's blood. I don't worry about those things. I'll deal with it if it happens. Worrying about it would disturb my sleep, which is more important to me than being safe. So what are the chances of a fire or a murderous assault just when you about to orgasm? Serious question, do you take a shower before going to bed? Just thinking about how clean the sheets are if you crap during the day. My plan is to defend myself with my dick, using it like a sword. Well, here's another thing to be super anxious about. /sigh/ it takes a second to throw on some shorts. And if you do have to run out naked, someone will definitely give you some clothes to help. Survival beats embarrassment. My number one worry in any situation that involves running from my house in the middle of the night would be getting my cats in their carriers. That will be the death of me. In these scenarios, being asleep seems way more problematic than being naked. You'd be surprised how off-putting a small guy swinging his willy around like a tiny, fleshy rotor can be. Scare murderers? Check. Put out fires? Eventually, check. Pee the fire, dick slap the killer. All in my dreams, before I die. I don't sleep naked, not often anyways, but my plans are thus. Fire, due to the sensitivity of the smoke detectors, and all the fire retardant materials in a relatively modern house, I'm betting I'll either find the fire and extinguish it, or I'll be trapped upstairs and have to climb my way out using the escape ladder under the bed. The only other possibility I foresee any reasonable chance of is that the fire hits my gunpowder stores, in which case I'm probably fucked. Intruder, grab the bedside assault shotgun and fire from the top of the stairs. Clothes aren't necessary when wielding 12 GA of semi-auto justice. My plan is to live. I don't give a shit if someone sees me naked. I have a robe on the back of my door. Doesn't everyone? No. Be better planners, people. Behold. Surprise nudity. Just email the emergency services. I can never remember their new number. Roll for intimidation either way, baby. More importantly, how do you prevent your nutsack sticking to your leg like wet saran wrap? Seduce the threat. Hey there, baby. Lookin' hot there. Come on, let me hear your roar. Burns to death fire. Grab Mike Faruqi by the bedroom door. / got a pair of track keys and trainers and a couple of tops in it, amongst other things. Intruder, grab Mike Faruqi by the bedroom door. / come out swinging the rookie. I'm 6 feet 3 inches, big build, and the rookie also has some hard items like a thermos and an old yet serviceable laptop and charger. If intruder is already inside and by my bed, blocking access to the rookie, then I'm 6 feet 3 inches tall and I'm in bed, therefore horizontal. My foot is lined up with their crotch / abdomen / chest. I can kick hard. Come out fighting and go into fight / flight mode. I die, so what if some people see me naked? For rescue workers, I doubt that's the most disturbing thing they have ever seen, and for a burglar / killer, I hope my pale naked body will distract them long enough for me to arm myself. Fire. Throw pants on, they're always in the same spot. And get the animals out. Murderer. Well, he'd be shot by a naked man. Then I'd put pants on there always in the same spot. I sleep naked to deter the murderer. Once he sees me naked he'll be too grossed out and just leave. Be naked while the fire or murder happens. ENDMYSELF. Die naked woman shrugging just die. Edit. Hopefully are you trying to infer that pajamas will make fighting fire or intruders easier? I can't imagine how thin flannel or something will. Die naked. I guess perform the helicopter maneuver in hopes that it intimidates the potential murder, or blows out the fire like a 5-year-old with their birthday candles. You must be assuming that before I went to sleep naked that I laundered the pants I was wearing the day before and put them away in the closet in a different room. You might be thinking that there's no way my pants are just sitting there on the floor 2 feet away from me. Vigorously jack off when the intruder enters my room. Fire? Grab a blanket. Murderer. Were your clothes really going to help you in this case? To sleep naked? So that either way I can go out wanking off, or in the case of a murderer, possibly scare him/her off. 1. Put on robe and dash outside with all my electronics and a salt shaker. 2. Act like my drunk grandma and start screaming that the lighter's on the roof. Yeah, gotta out crazy the crazy. Well, clothes don't really help much against a murderer. In fact, being nude may even give me an advantage, as the murderer would be awestruck upon seeing my massive, glorious penis. As for a fire, I can get sufficiently dressed to flee in a few seconds. Downstairs neighbor had his apartment broken into in the middle of the night. Guy heard noises coming from the living room and peeked to see what was going on. 2 masked guys saw him, pulled a gun out, and made him disconnect all of the electronics and gaming consoles so they could take them. He was bare-ass naked, on the ground with a gun to him, helping these attackers take his stuff. I think he called the police after they left and had a couple minutes to get dressed before they arrived. Heard about it all the next morning, and thought if that ever happened to me I'd do the same thing. Just be naked. They're the ones that broke in and are doing illegal things. They're the ones that get to suffer the consequences of seeing a dong every now and then. Ask the intruder if he could dim the light and wait for me to dress. In case of a fire, warm my naked body in its rays of warmth, since the cold that's waiting for me when I leave my bed naked is the worst to ever feel. I don't have one, I have several knives hidden everywhere in my house. Plan? I learned from a policeman that you can't plan for everything. It would be nice, but situations are very specific and far too numerous, so you have to just think on your feet. Get your situational awareness going and react without getting flustered, nervous, or petrified. In this case, screaming and running around in circles won't make the situation any better, especially if you are getting a mix of smoked or burnt or strangled or stabbed or shot. Pretty much 2 different situations with varying degrees of action required. Gas mask and gun in drawer next to the bed for max intimidation. There are people that let shit like this prevent them from sleeping nude. People got a lot of issues. Ever been attacked by a naked man? You would rightly think that this crazy person is going to fight tooth and nail. It's significantly scarier than being attacked by a man in his My Little Ponies PJs. I would just like to say that I'm sure being naked would indeed surprise a murderer. Person shrugging. In case of fire I will get burned, naked, good, some of my clothes are too pretty to get burned. In case of murder I think I will die, naked, but as I'm gonna be dead I don't care. None. But I'm not going to be uncomfortable and hot for 1/3 of my life just on the chance this will happen. Willing to play the odds. The means justify the ends. Actually, one time my dad got stuck between 2 cars in my garage, that were going downhill with no brakes cause he forgot, so I woke up with him yelling and I ran and only picked up a jacket on the way, so I was naked waist down. Pulled the brakes and then went back inside. In an emergency you probably just don't care. Scare them with my dick blanket, toga, or the clothes that I probably have on the floor near my bed. If I was too tired to be neat, I have more important things to think about if a fire or an invader is in my house. Also, a man who can shoot a gun completely naked is a man to be feared. Alexa, turn on security. Star Wars music. Rape time, pee into the fire and beat up the assailant with my magnum dong. Pee on both murderer, slap em with my cock. Fire, slap it with my cock until it goes out. Been sleeping naked for about a decade now. As far as a murderer, I've accepted that I'll either die naked, or the last thing they'll see before getting shot is some dude's dong and nutsack. I'm good with either. Fire is the kicker. Imagining myself bare-ass naked and standing on my street at 2 a.m. in the cold with a hibernating PP watching my house burn down with everything I own, now that's fear. Also the fear of a wet dream, but you didn't ask about that, so I won't tell. It was the co-monitor. We have a monitoring company, so the co-detector calls their office and they dispatch the FD. After the second or third time, heating company was having trouble finding/fixing the problem. I got a little too well ventilated, bathrobe and boots, in the dead of Canadian winter, and changed my sleeping habits. Spouse still sleeps naked, exhibitionist as a volunteer firefighter. I have my clothes laid out every night. I go from bed to boots in about 90 seconds when we get toned out. As for a murderer, that's why I sleep naked. Nobody wants to fight a naked man. Use the sword, Sun Tzu said. In conflict, direct confrontation will lead to engagement and surprise will lead to victory. Those who are skilled in producing surprises will win. My unusually large genitalia will scare away any intruder. Or lead to erotic entanglement. I can quickly pee out any fire since I do not have to waste time removing underwear. My enormous genitalia would, again, be a key asset in this endeavor. Run naked, or fight naked. The old fight or flee au natural. BTW, I'm sure the sight of me naked would scare the bejesus out of any murderer, but not so sure it would scare a fire out. I'm very overweight and I have a hatchet under my bed. I'm pretty sure the sight of me running/screaming towards someone while I'm naked and holding a hatchet would scare the shit out of any murderer. If there is a fire, I'm fucked. My plan is that if it's an emergency dire enough that I don't have the 5 seconds to put on the robe that sits right next to my bed, then it's an emergency dire enough that I won't care I'm naked, and other people won't judge either. Not quite naked, but just a pair of black boxer briefs. If it's a life or death situation, fuck it, I'll show off my trucker physique. Die the same way I came into this world, naked and without a plan. If a murderer comes in, I just run at them free willy and scream, it's raping time, fire, put pants on. I have pajama pants hanging on the back of the bedroom door, and there is usually a pair of jeans on the floor in front of my bureau. Murderer, deploy helicopter tactical escape pants and shirt bedside at all times. I might fight for my life in the nude in the event of a would-be murderer, but if I survive, I'll have pants on before the cops arrive. I ran out of apartment when it caught on fire naked. Honestly didn't even think about it until someone outside asked if I wanted them to try to find me some clothes. When you wake up and everything around you is on fire, putting clothes on is the least of your concerns. I don't sleep naked personally, but wouldn't a burglar be scared enough to leave by a naked person willing to fight them? I haven't slept with clothes on since I was 7. I'm now a 38-year-old married dad. I still don't sleep with clothes on. I figure I don't really give a shit about being naked outside while my house is burning, and if my neighbors do, fuck 'em. As for murderer, I see it as my advantage. If you see naked me coming at you, you're running. Run outside naked. Well, if you're getting murdered, what's it matter to you at that point anyways? And if there's fire, I guess being naked means there's less chance of you yourself catching fire. Fire, speedy boy, run fast. Murderer, jump very high, gouge eyes with PP, smiley face. In fire, pants fast AF. Intruder, both guns pointed towards enemy. Piss on both. Up acts like everyone is sleeping in fireproof or murder-resistant clothes at night. Like I can't think of anything a normal person sleeps in that is gonna stop being murdered. And in the event of a fire, or a murder elsewhere in the house, I'd assume people are more worried over general safety, and likely will try to put something more reasonable on rape. I lay my clothes out in front of my bed. But I sleep with earplugs, so I will probably just die run/fight with my dick swinging. That should stop any intruder. I could piss on the fire. Being a guy has perks. I keep a knife nearby, under the pillow or inside the bedside drawer, together with a bottle of water, just in case killer comes with a gun. Run? Dude, we are all humans. I don't care if I have to run outside naked. Why would I care? I mean, if it's a life-threatening situation, no one should care. Don't you guys ever visit saunas? Run at either the fire or the murderer naked, hoping that I will scare them off. Scream ATT the murderer while I'm naked. I plan to fuck the fire and slash or murderer into submission, naturally. Topic #347. You haven't seen me naked. Nobody's gonna break into my house and risk that. I plan on dying in either case. If it's fire, my body will be burned beyond recognition. If murderer, they'll think he or she was into some kinky sex thing with my body. Fire, now I have an excuse to be an exhibitionist. I'm not just being a pervert, I have an actual reason to be nude in the street. Murderer, this murder just turned into a rape. Be naked. I have a machete next to my bed. I'm hopeful the sight of my fat ass naked with a machete is enough to stop a murderer. A fire too, for that matter. Winky face. Die naked, hope and pray that it doesn't happen. There's nothing scarier to a murderer or a fire than a naked man with a gun. I have a robe right next to my bed. It's not like I'm walking around naked in the evening before I head to bed. I need to get to bed somehow. I own pair of running shorts that have a mesh liner on the inside that I can quick throw on and take off. I'm a dude, so being shirtless isn't a problem. That's why I sleep naked. The moment the murderer sees my naked body, they will run away screaming for bleach. Piss on it. In every scenario the answer is to piss on it. Fire. Piss on it, murderer. Piss on it. I sleep naked, and I've been a nurse for a decade. People who save you don't give a shit about your genitals. You will get a blanket or whatever and the world moves on. Well, I do not think clothes are gonna make any difference if a murderer assaults you while on the bed, only in case your idea of clothes is like medieval knights, or you are some kind of Jackie Chan able to disarm people with a jacket. Grab the axe by my bed and run down screaming like a maniac. This happened to me. A fire, not a murder. Woke up in the middle of the night and jumped in my pants laying on the bedroom floor to run outside. It took only a few seconds. You would be surprised how fast you can move when things are going that wrong. My wife ran outside wrapped in a blanket. It's more disorienting to first understand there is a fire in your house. Figuring out how to respond to it, e.g. GTFO, is the easy part. Surprise the murderer with your nakedness or try to extinguish the fire with pee. I literally just had a dream last night that I was sleeping naked, as always, and someone broke into my apartment. I literally had to fight him off while trying to keep a blanket wrapped around me. Honestly made me want to sleep with at least a big shirt on from now on. My phone is under the corner of my pillow. I have shorts and a t-shirt at the end of the bed. There is a bow and arrows, 3 rifles, a pistol, and at least 1 knife immediately at hand in my bedside cabinet and hanging on the wall beside me. I grew up in a house on 365 acres in the middle of nowhere. More often as not the intruders were slithery and poisonous or 4-legged and pissed off. The rest of the time they were my brother or one of his drug dealers he owed money. Pray my neighbors are temporarily stricken with blindness, manage to run out the door with clothes, or at least a big, thick blanket, and hope for the best. My reality? I'll run outside, it'll be sleeting, I'll slip, fall uphill, my head at the bottom, ass in the air, bust my head, fall unconscious in a very unladylike position, poop myself while unconscious, shit everywhere. Only the very young, very attractive neighbors will be home, they'll see it all, unfortunately run out to rescue me, be successful instead of letting me die, and I'll have to live beside them for the rest of my unfortunate life. It'll all be caught on everyone's security system. It'll go viral. For fire, pee on it. For a murderer, pee on it, swing in the breeze, baby, masturbate. If it's a fire, ejaculate on it. If it's an intruder, they would be too intimidated to fight back. What do you do if you are showering and a person tries to rob you or murder you? In case of murder, start jerking of. If he still tries to murder you, he is a sick fuck. If he stops, you can counterattack with. Well, you can jizz on him if you want. In case of a fire, I think I have 1 or 2 seconds to grab some clothings on my wardrobe, so no worries there, except for the fire. Fire. I won't need clothes. I'll be plenty warm, screaming my way out of the building. Murderer. They'll be going up against an angry naked man with nothing to lose. If I lose, I lose. If I win, I have a new roommate, flex tape to whatever I can figure out at the time. Kinda want a roommate anyways. Just wear your underwear around your ankle before you go to bed, bathrobe on the floor by the bed. Based on my acute confusion and sleepiness when my boyfriend came in last night late, probably just die tbh, it's easier to piss on both when you don't have pants on. I adapted my defense from turtles. I picked a big turtle up off the road to carry it to safety once and it pissed all over my jeans. Like its stream was bigger than mine. Since then I have been training in the art of ancient turtle defense pissing. Since I began training, my stream has grown to an incredible size. I am also able to piss 20 feet in a 360-degree angle from whichever direction I am facing. All without the use of my hands. Thank you, wise turtles, for showing me the way. As the comedian Dave Attell put it, if you see a naked man running down the street, you run with that man because there's some scary shit following him. No plan. I'm prepared to go down with the ship. My plan is to sleep through both. Just like if I had clothes in case of fire, windmill dick technique to put out the flames. In case of murderer, windmill dick technique to ward off intruder. I feel like this question implies that we who sleep naked put all our clothes away before going to bed. Whatever I was wearing is on the floor next to where I'm sleeping, it will be put away in the morning. If I have to get up for any reason, there are clothes right there. I mean, if it's a fire, just run out. Maybe grab a robe or towel, but if it's a murderer, I'm fighting him Amazonian style. Titties out and everything. I will threaten the intruder with intimacy. I don't always sleep naked. But when I do, it's because I have a plan. I think people who sleep naked should be more worried about a prostitute than a murderer. If someone breaks in, I'm running at him with a pistol in one hand and my dick in the other, yelling, "This is my pistol, this is my gun." I don't really have a plan in case of a fire. Just run out the house naked, I guess. Oh, I have a friend for this one, lol. A friend of mine who is now passed away, used to sleep naked and had someone break into his home. It's important to note he was a drug dealer at the time, so he was ready for the encounter, not with clothes but with a handgun. He fired a couple rounds in his home at the guy, missing every shot. The guy ran out of the house and my friend, not thinking, ran after him. At this point he wasn't shooting but just trying to catch the guy out of anger, and chased him several houses down before finally coming to his senses. Realizing he was standing in the middle of a well-lit neighborhood street completely nude with a gun in his hand, having just fired multiple shots. He had a plan, but it just wasn't perfectly thought through. LOL. Grab the 13th century styled Norman bastard sword I keep by my bed and fight the murderer like I'm a Gallic naked man. We keep traditions alive in my house. Fire. Pee on it. Murderer. Pee on it. I don't know. Edit, I'm probably fucking dead. I'm sexy, don't give a fuck. Follow-up question, attackers, what do you plan to do if your victim comes at you naked? What's the big deal about being naked? Back in the hippie days, me and the old lady were sleeping naked in the van. When I heard someone stealing the skis off the top of the van, I grabbed my ice axe. Stumbled out, knocking him back. He ran, I chased him. He dived into a new orange Pontiac Le Mans and I put a hole in the fender with my ice axe. Crazy naked hippie chased me down the road with an ice axe. 1. Pee on it. 2. Pee on them. Assert dominance. Ball out if either one of those things happen, my dick flopping around is the least of my worries. Fire. Grab my dressing gown from the back of my door, next to my bed. Murderer. Douse myself in baby oil and make a run for it, haha. No clothes to catch on fire. Run outside, naked. 2a. Run outside naked and b. Be murdered naked. Start whipping my dick around like a Chinook helicopter until the threat is extinguished or the murderer realizes that it's some pretty gay shit. Hopefully start a porn-like scenario with a hot murderer or firefighter. Seduction. Murderer is easy. Crab walk towards him while naked, and chant Owaga Chaka. For a fire, I always keep an extra pair of shorts next to me. Die. I mean naked or not, I still have a gun. I'm pretty sure I can put a fire out with that. I don't know. What's your plan for a fire or murderer when you're in the bath? People are going to see my wobbly bits. Pour them. I only sleep naked after a for or murder. Stab murderer with dick. Piss on fire. And maybe piss on murderer too, I guess. I rarely sleep naked or even just in my underwear, but honestly, it seems fitting that I leave this world the same way I entered it, naked and screaming. Sleeping naked sucks for a murderer, it's easy, just getting up would work. My body is horrendous enough to scare them away. Laughing face, fire, jump out the window. Murderer, reach under my bed and pull out my grandfather's bayonet, then defend myself. Be naked. IDC, if my house is burning down / someone is trying to kill my family, I'm not going to be concerned about modesty. I'll have my titties out for the neighbors to see, lol, it's not a big deal. Joke is on whoever tries to murder me, their eyes would shrivel up first. My dressing gown is on the way to the door and window in case of fire. Flapping freely in the breeze may create enough draft to remove the smoke inhalation problem. I keep a robe handy that will protect my bits. If there's a murderer in my house, I'd just helicopter dick towards them to assert my dominance. Expose genitals to assert dominance. Ah, I was wondering when you'd show up. You missed the orgy. Jerk off, I suppose this is the correct answer. Well, I'll tell you one thing, I know exactly which one I'd rather put my dick in. I keep my PJs directly next to my bed. Hopefully in one of the instances I'd have enough time to throw them on real quick, lol. I sleep with a dressing gown in reachable distance. I throw that on whenever I have to get up. I always keep my fresh pair of undies nearby. A quick grab and go, then jump out the window. Deleted. Never have I been more nervous to click on a link. If an intruder makes it past Mags, our boxer, and our alarm system, I will die. Naked. If one of those wakes me, the intruder will be met with Mag.357. For fire, we have a hardwired and connected fire alarm system, robes nearby and easy egress in each room. My parents' house got burgled when I was younger. Parents like to sleep in the nude. Apparently my madre, a curvy woman, made the man take a second to look before driving off in my dad's car. She still sleeps naked, the psycho. Sig P2 2045 next to my bed. No dress code required when the police are looking for the suspect. I'll be wearing clothes and won't fit the description. Not one who sleeps naked. My plan is to perish anyway. Handle it naked. Start slinging some dick at the intruder. And in case of a fire, pee or ejaculate over the fire. 60% of the time, it works every time. For a fire, I have a room on the first floor. I can honestly just go out the window, except I'd just be naked. For the murderer, he'd probably feel sorry for me and just leave. Run around screaming while my dong does the light switch. If I was being murdered, I think the last thing on my mind would be being embarrassed that I had no clothes on in front of the murderer. Murderer, if they're in my room already, I don't think being clothed is going to save me any more than being naked. Fire *, I'd run outside naked, or if there is time, and get this, put some clothes on. I always have a towel easy to grab, but honestly I'd try to save my cats first, and IDC people see me naked in extenuating circumstances. Murderer, we've got dogs that would make lots of noise and wake me up. Fire, we've got fire alarms that would make lots of noise and wake me up. I would have time to get dressed fast in both cases. Finally dying so I can leave this world. Just put on pants, run like everyone else. I keep pants by my bed and pants by the door downstairs, so I'm covered on both floors of the house. I sleep in a tank top, so my boobs are already covered. I don't have one, to be honest. I guess I will just be naked while doing what I have to do on one of those situations. Or just wearing my blanket. Honestly, sleeping shirtless, and without pants in the summer, doesn't faze me. I'll be fine. I have enough confidence to not care if anyone sees me shirtless/pantsless. Hope that it's not cold out. My ego wouldn't be able to survive that. My plan? Just don't sleep. Easy. I think if you have a lot of genital muscles from routinely working out your groin at the local gym, you should be able to do helicopters with enough speed and force to put out any fire. Easy. Seduce the murderer and the fire. Bonus points if you do both at the same time. Fire, I have nothing to be ashamed of, so I'm not concerned. If I have time I might grab my dressing gown, though, it's cold out at the moment. Murderer, I have nothing to be ashamed of. I'm either going to die or survive. That being said, I have a sheath knife next to my bed, and if someone was coming at me I'd pare their sternum with it. Piss on the fire, beat the murderer to death with my dick. Run outside. When my life is in danger I give no fucks about decency or shame. Besides, if I'm naked, I'm less likely to catch on fire and have my clothes melt onto my skin or something. Dick slaps. I have a highly sharpened 8-shear blade by my bed at arm's reach, and if I'm going to be murdered I'm not sure clothes are going to be much of a problem. Fire, on the other hand, the clothes I wore that day are folded just beside the bed, easy peasy. Fire, I'm okay with dying if I don't escape. The breeze would feel good if I did escape, and what other times would you have a damn good excuse to be naked outside? Burglar, grab my gun and battle them butt naked. Who wants to be killed by a hairy, naked man? It bothered me when I lived by myself, but now that I live with someone, I'm hoping she dresses me before the police come to the scene, or at least identifies my body before my parents have to. I sleep naked and was once woken up to my living room being on fire. Luckily I always have my pajamas next to my bed, so quickly got dressed and ran out. Otherwise I guess I would have just wrapped myself up in my blanket. But naked outside, no fucks given. If they have a gun, charge them, and if they have a knife, well fuck. Fire, crispy. I'm going to beat the murderer to death with my cock though. It could take a while. No one wants to fight a naked person. Same for both, charge forward and assert dominance. In the case of fire, take control of my own hose and help the firefighters put out the fire. Due to the fact that it's actually pretty hard to sleep through a fire, one-story home, I'm not too worried about that. Now if someone breaks in, imagine the news report of a guy in a towel that the shit beat out of an intruder because towel guy does not like being woken up prematurely and most likely has college the next day. Fire. Well, my old apartment's fire alarm used to go off randomly, so based off of that experience, grab my snowflake pajamas, throw on my bathrobe, slippers, or boots, weather depending, maybe my coat, and head outside. Murderer. Take care of business and then call the police. Yes, 911. Please inform the responding officers that the guy in the pajama bottoms with the AR-15 is the resident. Then put on my pants, clear the weapon, put it down far away from me, and get down on the floor while I wait for the police to arrive. Hopefully I would be able to grab jeans and a cute top before I got murdered. Escape? I sleep half naked. And my plan is to dress up quickly. Doesn't sound like much of a plan. Help. I figure if either of those things happen, being naked will be the least of my concerns. I definitely couldn't fight off a murderer irrespective of my dress situation, so I think seduction is already my best option. As for a fire, a bit of breeze through the gonads should help me maintain a state of calm in the face of crisis. The nakedness is therefore an essential part of the plan in either scenario. If I'm being murdered, I at least want to look good. I wear an awesome dress-length hoodie with a zipper as loungewear in the evenings, and now, because I am lazy. At bedtime, I unzip it, lay it flat, inside up, and sleep on top. In the morning I slip it on before I open the blanket so I'm warm. Smiley face, grab the sheet or blanket. Cowabunga, it is get out naked, always have spare clothes in my car. If my neighbors are more focused on my fat ass than the burning house, that's their therapy to deal with, not mine. As for murderers/intruders, we have a 60 to 70 pound missile that lives meeting new people, which will be followed up by me, naked, with a .45 I keep near the bed. Never expect to need this scenario, but even my town in BFE has the meth house on the corner. Piss to assert dominance. Works for both scenarios. Embrace the sweet release of death. If there's a fire or a murderer, nakedness is the least of my problems. My clothes aren't far from reach and my pistol is always on the nightstand. Murderer? My gun. Fire? Literally just hope for the best. I always get dressed for the night but inevitably get restless with my PJs on, and so I take them off and dump them on any surface around my bed. So my plan is, my clothes aren't that far away. In the latter scenario I'd have an epic nude fight straight out of Eastern Promises. If there's a fire I'll run outside naked. The firefighters I'm sure will have a blanket or something for me to cover up with when they show up. Unless you're sleeping in a suit of armor, what is your plan in case of murderer? My plan is probably pretty similar. Just without the clothes. How does being naked change anything about having to deal with a fire or a murderer? The same as if I was clothed. Get the fuck out of there and deal with the consequences later. Don't think I'd be overly concerned about my wardrobe in those scenarios. 1. Burn naked. 2. Being murdered naked. Maintain dominance for a fire. I guess I'm giving everybody a show as I evacuate the building. Oh well, no big deal. For a home invasion, the intimidation of coming at them with a rifle with bayonet mounted would only be even more effective if I'm naked and screaming. The only question is whether to go with the AR, the Garand, or the SVT-40. Shave my pubes into a lightning bolt to establish dominance. I'm a big hairy man. I imagine me running naked at you in the dark is pretty frightening. In case of fire, I'll at least be a little cooler than everyone else. Helicopter murder gets a great view and lead poisoning. Fire, I grab the pants right next to me and get my kids and wife out of the house. Not that hard to figure out in case of fire or other life or death situation, just deal with it and don't worry about being naked. I have been there and done that. Had to escape from a house fire, went round to neighbor to get them to call the fire brigade. Naked. Did not matter. Who is actually going to complain about nudity in a life or death situation anyway? It was worth a slight chuckle once everything was sorted. When you fighting for your life, it does not matter what kind of clothes or if you wear any clothes. Stupid question. In my country 90% of all the murders are within the family. Windmill fast enough to blow out the fire. If it were a murderer I would tell them mom said no. You see, I'm fat so no one will uwu me without consent or murder me because I look like the MF Pillsbury Doughboy, and in case of fire I'll MF roll out like a Autobot. I'd do the same thing in both situations. I'd run on all fours and deal with the threat using a fire extinguisher. I guess my mom and dad both have the flu right now. A few days ago my mom dropped to the ground hard. I rush up to the bathroom. There is 2 ways to get there. I head through the laundry room and help her. Well, the other bathroom door to their room is open, so as I go to help her my dad was trying to help her as well. He doesn't sleep in his underwear and now I am scarred for life. Fire or murderer, I'm about to get dead if my fat naked arse don't get up and run. Astonished face, so you run. I have a robe hanging on my door in case I need to run out at any point. If a murderer shows up I'm sure my fat naked body will shock them more than embarrass me. Come on it. I always have a PJ or something similar nearby. I just have to put it on extremely fast and run. This happened in the dorms back in 2008. I went to school in Michigan, and in late August it is usually super humid there, and our dorm was an older building that did not have central air. Well, one night the fire alarm was pulled by someone and everyone had to leave and go wait in the parking lot. Well, a few people in the building slept naked, and one guy came running out thinking the building was on fire and forgot to grab his robe and stood there in the lot stark ass naked for the next 30 minutes until the fire department cleared the building. If it's a murder, just stay in bed in a sex pose. The murderer eon't expect it. In case of fire, just jump out of the window. As someone who sleeps clothed, I'm probably more fucked than any of these naked sleepers. IKR. Do all Americans have a gun or bayonet next to their beds? Die, probably. Where's my super suit? I have a loaded gun on my desk, so in case somebody breaks in I'm able to shoot myself. To avoid social interaction in a fire, I'd probably throw on a towel or cardigan. I'd grab my mouse, disconnect all the equipment for the fish tanks, and GTFO my window or into the backyard. My dresser is right next to my bed, so I wouldn't have much trouble. Not only that, but I don't have to unfold anything because everything is hung up, not folded. A murderer can get one of my 2 mallets I have on either side of my bed. Also, maybe get stunned by a 5 feet 9 inches, 300 pounds naked lesbian popping out from underneath a king-size blanket on a queen-size bed. Either way, I'm fine with being naked. Worth it? If you've seen the Preacher series, then in case of a murderer, you start wanking in order to confuse and disarm them. To sleep naked comfortably as a man, your junk needs to be so small I imagine they would just let the fire come. Die same if I were clothed. Can still shoot a murderer in my birthday suit. I have an oversized nightgown I can put on in 1,6 sec next to my bed if my house is on fire or if there's an intruder. People seeing my dong would be the least of my worries. For a fire I would simply grab a pair of shorts from the floor of my bedroom. For a murderer, I have a bedside gun. Be less paranoid. Piss on fire. Piss on murderer. This is such a nothing question. My underwear is right next to the bed, and takes like 2 seconds to put on. My wife sleeps naked. I came home early from a work trip once and decided to surprise her, but got weather delayed until after midnight. When I got home and went upstairs, she was sitting on the bed naked with her 9mm waiting for me. I don't try to surprise her by coming home early anymore. Fire, I keep pajama-like clothes on the back of the bedroom door, on a hook. Or, worse comes to worst, I can quickly get to yesterday's work clothes at the top of the hamper. Murderer, not that it would work against a gun, but I keep a small knife near my bed in case I need to cut tags off clothes or open boxes. It's something, at least. And I can always throw my CPAP at them. The machine itself would probably hurt quite a bit if I hurled it full force into someone's face. Fire, robe. Murderer, gun. I mean, if Ozzy managed to subdue some guy breaking into his house while still naked, I think I can hold my own too. In a fire, go outside or die in a fire. Maybe grab pants or a onesie on the way, or just be naked outside. It wouldn't be the first time I've been naked outside or in front of a crowd. I don't plan on doing any murders while I'm sleeping, but if it happens I guess I'll be doing some sleepy naked murdering. If I get murdered it isn't my problem anymore, but if we are going to fight for my life I guess I'll do that naked too. I wrestled in high school. All 4 years and some off-season folk style in the summers. The difference between a singlet and being naked is that you have a thin layer of imagination between your face and my taint and balls. Guess you are foregoing that for a bit of murder. Good luck. Ever charge someone while you're naked? I have. It freaks them the fuck out. I have a large fluffy robe in my room that's easily accessible and pain-free to get on it in a jiffy. If someone breaks into my house to kill me they'll be fighting an angry naked woman. Pretty sure if I'm being attacked the last thing I'm concerned about is if my nasty bits are on display or not. Upside, if blood is spilled all I have to do is shower instead of throw clothing away. I sleep naked. Modestly is the last thing I care about in an emergency. I have had to investigate noises in the middle of the night because my wife got scared. I just went downstairs as is and did what had to be done. No issue at all. I also don't have many curtains downstairs, so I'm sure the neighbors have seen my junk by now. They never mentioned it. In the event of a fire, worst case scenario, I am standing outside in a blanket, but I'm pretty adept at getting dressed and out the door very quickly. In the event of a murderer, being naked gives the optimal advantage. Imagine you just broke into someone's home in the dead of night. The witching hour. Suburban home, no traffic on the road at this time of night. You have been watching this home for a few weeks now. Watching, waiting. Memorizing the daily patterns of the people who reside here. You watched the man who lives there leave the house with his 2 young daughters, and return alone. Custody change day. Tonight is the night. You know that he is exhausted from the week spent with his children. You wait until the bedroom light is turned off. You know from your recon that it will be at least an hour before he falls asleep and at least another hour until he is fast asleep. There is no dog to worry about. This poor bastard probably doesn't even lock his doors, you think to yourself as you walk quietly to the back door. Gently you reach for the handle and turn it. Sure enough, the door opens. Not locked. As you make your way through the downstairs you stop. What was that noise? You hold your breath and listen. Nothing. Absolute silence. You make your way to the top of the steps and turn around the corner. And that is when you realize you just fucked up. No amount of experience or life lessons can prepare you for what you are watching unfold in front of you. You never imagined that this is how it would end for you. Your life flashes before your eyes as the large, hairy, overweight man you were sent to kill is charging at you. Naked as the day he was born, his large rotund belly jiggling as he barges forward. The last thing you think to yourself before he aims the shotgun at you is that a bayonet clenched between his teeth? I chased away a would-be burglar while naked with a samurai sword / I have no problem being naked, so no big deal. Although others might look at me strangely as I stand on the curb naked waiting for the fire department or cops. I'm going for shock value. The idea is to dazzle the intruder with my unattractive body. Fire, I shall flee. The fire department will provide me with a blanket, because when I exit the house with my junk waving around, somebody is going to be embarrassed. It might be me, but chances are the FD is gonna want my junk incognito. As for an intruder, I'm going to pick up my wife's pink Kimber 1911. What's worse than being shot by a naked guy? How about getting shot by a pink gun being held by a naked guy? Dominance, asserted. My plan is running out into the street with my junk out, the one time I will be allowed to do so without getting arrested, every cloud and that. Well, what's your plan in this scenario? Pajamas made of Kevlar or dragon scales. If I'm gonna die to a fire or a murderer, it's gonna be with my little pal enjoying some fresh air. I'm already dressed for the coffin. Look at my balls. Look at them. I just run at them full speed. Trust me, they don't wanna see it. If there's a murderer, I'm dead anyway. A thin layer of clothes isn't going to protect me. If there's a fire, I'd leave the house. In a fire I keep a robe folded up by my bedside, so I wouldn't be totally naked, probably. In case of an intruder, I feel that being charged by a naked man is more than scary enough. I keep a set of clothes on top of my dresser to grab in case of emergency. I don't plan to have time to put them on for a fire, but I'll wrap myself in my blanket, grab the clothes and haul out. And for a burglary I can fight naked, so we'll have to tumble, I guess. LMAO or earthquake. Jammy bottoms close to bed with slippers, shotgun under bed, piss on it, in both scenarios. I keep pajamas in a drawer next to the bed for instant decency. LOL, I'd just accept my end and die an honorable death. Urinate, in either scenario. How far away do you think I leave my clothes? Exactly. I guess my plan would be to put on pants. If a murderer came in, I'm pretty sure the sound of breaking doors or windows would leave me enough time to get some pants on. Then my plan would be to get murdered, I suppose. What are your clothes made of, mate? Titanium. Dressing gown. If I have to exit the house from a fire, I have a house robe at the foot of the bed. If any intruder enters my house, I have 3 pistols strategically placed for easy access, a .45 in my nightstand, and an AR under my bed. Someone could always try to assault me, but I feel I've given myself a fair chance at protecting myself. I figure I'll have bigger problems than someone seeing my Winky sleeping naked makes me more able to fight of murderers, because when they enter my room to see me naked, junk hanging down with some makeshift weapons, they are gonna be terrified. Welp, oh well man. Shrugging. Medium skin tone. Go outside. Distraction or blanket shoot. Both cases. Murica. Honestly, if there is a murderer or fire, I will do exactly the same thing as if I had clothes on. It may even give me an advantage with the murderer. He may begin laughing at my pathetic little dick, which give me the opportunity and motive to blast him. For a fire, I also have an advantage, as I will not have to pull down my pants to piss on the small fire blocking my escape through the window. Well, my pants are at the side of my bed, so I can get on sweats in less than 5 seconds. Regarding a murderer, I mean, I'd make sure to weird him/her out. I see you arrived, let's begin. Thanks God for this opportunity. Dear Shrek and Holy SpongeBob, forgive me for what I'm about to do. All the while standing butt naked on top of my bed, do what Jack Black did in Gulliver's Travels. Fire. Pee on it. If it's a murderer, pee on it. I sleep naked. If I was getting murdered or my house was on fire, the last thing I'd be worried about is someone looking at my dick.